Hello, welcome to Magical Energy with me, Karen of Golden Oak Therapies. Do you find that you are hearing a lot more about energy, possibly energy blockages or energy systems, on how energy is affecting our health? So in this series of podcasts, I will be exploring the powerful effect of energy, how it impacts upon our health and well-being, how illness can be due to energy blockages, and how we can make sure we are in optimum energetic flow. Energy is something we don't necessarily see, but we can certainly feel it, and it is absolutely essential to our lives. So join me as we explore energy, its effect, and the therapies that bring in magical energy. In this podcast, I will be talking to Mitchell, who is quite keen and curious to know more about energy and how I bring it into my work, but also how I integrate it into my life as well.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we've met recently and you've told me what you was doing, and I was clueless and I want to know more and how it all works and a bit more about you as well. So do you feel like you was born with a special gift, or is it natural to some people, or is it something you just learn?
Yeah, I certainly wasn't born with any sort of special gifts of insight or healing, and I'm not aware that anybody else in my family is either. I would say I'm a down-to-earth, very practical, very logical person, and this has come about sort of, I suppose, fairly late in my life, if you like.
Yeah. What do you think sparked the spirituality then?
I think I've always been curious and open-minded about holistic therapies, complementary therapies.
Yeah.
Back in 2000, I got a group of women together for complementary therapists, and I was given some European funding to do so. And I met people who were doing things like crystal healing, spiritual healing, metamorphic technique, Indian head massage, all these different things. And it really sort of got me curious until I had a Reiki session. And it was that session that something shifted in me, that I felt that I not only had to experience more of this, but I also had to teach it as well.
Right.
And then what came into it was very much also things like emotional freedom technique or tapping, which is also energy, and then shamanic healing as well.
Yeah. So you said before you got some sort of funding for it. What did you used to do?
Well, I was an occupational therapist in community mental health in the NHS for over 30 years.
Right.
And although when I started doing more about exploring about energy and Reiki, I obviously couldn't use it within the NHS. But I was becoming aware that not only we have our physical health, we have our mental and emotional health, but there's also something about our spiritual health as well. And when I talk about spiritual health, I'm not talking about religion or faith at all.
No.
It's almost like it's another aspect of ourselves that sometimes we're just not aware of, that we are connected more than we realise to a massive web of energy of the universe.
So I just feel like it's not really heard of unless you know someone directly who is involved with it. So it's not very spoken about, really, I don't think.
No.
Not in my area, anyway.
No, and I think it is getting more and more, though, because certainly during lockdown, people were more aware of how they felt when they went outside in nature.
Yeah, definitely.
So everything has got this energy around them. And we'll talk more about energy in the next podcast.
So what do you think is different from your life now than 10, 20 years ago when you was working in the NHS?
Oh, gosh. I was quite a, what I call a type A personality, very driven, very goal orientated, very busy, organising, got things done, had quite high standards. But now, having integrated a lot of the energy work into my life over the last 10 plus years, I am so much more tolerant of people. I'm patient. Do you know what? There's something about just accepting that some things are just as they are.
Yeah.
I very rarely get stressed And because I very rarely get stressed, my health is good. I've always been blessed with good health, but it's even better, if you like. And I just think my whole approach to life and my perception of life has changed.
Yeah, that's good. So how do you maintain stress free then? What do you do to look after yourself on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. That's a good question, because I'm a great believer in you've got to practice what you preach, or you walk the walk and talk the talk. I feel it's one of the things that anybody can do, and I certainly do, is being outside in nature. Nature in itself has energy. Everything has an energy around it, and it has an energy that can just slow us down, put things into perspective for us. I do self-healing every day. Right. So I do a Reiki self-healing or a meditation. I do things, just gratitude, just changing that perception of giving thanks for what you have rather than dwelling on what you haven't got, changes your energy flow within you. It's also around being around like-minded people, if you like, people that get what you're talking about rather than think you're absolutely nuts or balmy. I continue to learn, so I continue to add to my knowledge, my skill. And also, I have treatments myself. So not only am I doing treatments for other people, but I need to have treatments, that keep myself...
To maintain.
Well, absolutely. So there's lots of things. There's lots of other things that people can do as well.
And this is something we're going to talk about more in the future, I suppose.
Yeah. But I think on a day-to-day basis, going back to your question, Mitchell, it's just smiling helps your energy flow. At the end of the day, just looking back and thinking, what am I grateful for today? Yeah. It can be things like helping other people, that element of just being kind, in whatever way. All those things add up to good energy within us, which can only help our health, because when we become unwell, our energy gets blocked, or the energy gets blocked, and then we become unwell. So if we maintain our energy flow in lots of different ways through all these things that I talked about, then it can only make us feel much better in ourselves as well.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So what can we expect about the forthcoming podcast with you then, Karen?
Yeah, so I'm going to be talking specifically about energy, but also then how it comes into different therapies, if you like, such as Reiki, shamanic healing, emotional freedom technique, or tapping. I'm hoping to, within those podcasts, also help people with lots of tips and strategies that they can bring into their lives, because it's all about living our best lives in the optimum energetic flow.
Yeah, it sounds really good, and I'm excited. So we're good to speak to you then, Karen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed and found this podcast interesting. So join me for more of them as we talk about this wonderful and magical energy.